Hello YouTube and YouTube subscribers. Today we're going to be talking about stocking capacity, which in my opinion is pretty controversial and has no real definite answer as to how much fish you can keep in a tank. Now there's two rules for this. One is surface area related and the other one is just volume related. Now surface area related rule usually measures the length of your tank, and it basically implies that you can keep 1 inch of fish per 1 inch of surface area per 1 inch of length of tank that you have, while the other rule is 1 inch per gallon. Now in my opinion, both these rules are absolute garbage, because it's simply the way it's measured doesn't make much sense. It's only measuring your fish in one dimension. Your fish aren't two-dimensional. And my issue with the 1 inch per gallon rule is that, say for example, you have 10 neon tetras in a 10-gallon tank that's well filtered, has some live plants in it, and is getting, say, 15% water changes every 2 weeks. Those fish will be probably most likely be pretty fine. But then, say for example, you take a 10-inch Oscar, put that in that 10-gallon tank, it pollutes the water, it dies in 3 days. So that rule, the 1 inch per gallon rule, is absolute garbage. Do not follow that rule when you're buying your fish. Do not let pet stores persuade you into buying tanks because of that rule either. That rule is something they do not need to follow. In my opinion, the 1 inch per gallon rule is garbage. Now, surface area rule, in my opinion, makes a bit more sense because it relates it involves gas exchange. The higher surface area your tank is, the higher it does gas exchange. So it's pretty much proven that, say this tank here, say this tank is 10 gallon tall, and this one here is a 10 gallon standard. You know they're not in that actual picture, just pretend they are. The 10 gallon standard do have more surface area, it can hold more fish. It's that simple. And then if you also factor in that, this 10 gallon tank has more area for fish to set up territories and stuff like that for keeping territorial fish, while this one does not. So, in my opinion, there is no definite way to know exactly how much fish you can keep in your tank. You just have to kind of look at the size of your fish. You have to look at your filtration. You have to look at the amount of water changes you're doing. And then you also have to look at the type of fish you're keeping. For example, if I got, say, a 55-gallon tank, I could, say, keep 1 Oscar in that tank and maybe a pair of other smaller cichlids in that tank. And then that tank is maxed out because the Oscar has a very large biomass. And Oscars, for example, are said to require about 40 gallons of water each. But if you took the length of those fishes and added them up, it doesn't equate to 55 inches of fish. Nor does it equate to, nor does it match up the 1 inch per gallon rule either, or the surface area rule. So, when it comes to stocking your tanks, you gotta look at the water changes, your plant biomass, and your type of filtration. In my tank that's in the living room that I got, in that tank I got, how many fish I got in there? I got 6 Harlequin Rhizoboras. I got 2 Pearl Danos, since they're kind of dying off, and I got, I think, how many cherry barbs? 5 cherry barbs, a male beta, and a catfish. You think that tank is overstocked, but I'm doing 15% water changes every week. And I'm very diligent with the cleaning routine. And the fish in there are pretty low biomass. Now, if I took a bunch of those reservoirs out and, say, replace them with 6 platies, platies are a little bit longer than reservoirs, but they're way fatter, they've got much more weight, they produce way more waste. All of a sudden, that tank's going to might start having issues with its nitrogen cycle. So, basically, when you're stocking your tanks, there's some trial and error that you gotta do, and you gotta look at stuff like, if your tank is stocked and you're getting higher nitrogen readings and stuff, that might mean it's overstocked. It might not mean it's overstocked because you got too many fish in there. It might mean it's overstocked because you don't have the right amount of filtration. You don't have, say, live plants that are helping break down nitrogenous waste and processing the fish waste and stuff like that. So there is no definite way to stock your aquariums. We've got people on here, I've seen some guys have YouTube channels where they have heavy stocking, like the Rick. He does heavy stocking, but he's very diligent with his water changes. And he picks his fish very carefully. He has territorial fish in his tank, but he makes sure those territorial fish aren't at too high of a density that they're damaging each other. So when it comes to stocking capacity, do not use 1 inch per gallon or the surface area rule. You kind of do a lot of research. You gotta look at the behavior of fish. You gotta look at the size of your fish, not just their length. You gotta look at their body types, how much they eat, how much waste they produce. You kind of have to, I hate to say this, you kind of have to estimate how much fish you can keep in your tank before you start having a whole bunch of issues. Thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe. If any of you guys want, we can kind of discuss this in the comments section. So peace out.